Oh, what the hell is going on here? That was a slight problem. Okay. Sorry I'm late. Not trying to be late. What the fuck is going on? I lost Pat. Wicked echo. Hold on.
Yeah, that leads to people camping.
Okay, that should take care of it. My bad. I think that I had a tab open. I need Pat more than anything else. Yeah, I'm hiding in a cave. Yes, Randy, I'm hiding in a cave. No, it is Pat is generally the clip bitch. I say that with love. And he was supposed to be on and all of a sudden just disappeared. I know he hasn't been feeling well, so I'm not going to bemoan him or anything like that. It's not his fault. But because of that, he kind of threw a wrench at things unintentionally. Oh, I think I know what's happening. Hold on. There we go. That should fix it all together. Too many tabs open. My bad. I am a retard. Fucktard. So we're going to make this as efficient as possible. I have about an hour. And then my kids are not too old that they have to be put to bed. Otherwise, they'll stay up playing video games all night. We can't have that. So we finally got the body cam footage of Glenn Cerio in today. Pat had requested that. He got it back. We have to share it because we waited so long for it. So we'll do that. And then I know there's been some controversy over this this watchdog thing that I just wanted to discuss with people. I might even open up the panel. So if you want to motherfuck me, then you can. I'm more than happy to receive all of your criticism, complaints, and hatred over this. I just want to preface this entire stream by reminding people that we are free agents here at the Masshole Report. We belong to no communities. We take no sides. And a grift is a grift is a grift. I don't care what kind of values you espouse while trying to hide what you're doing. And that is a fact that is never going to change for us. But anyway, we have a lot of body cam footage from Glenn Cerio here. Probably too much to even get through on one stream because we're talking I think a total of 3 hours worth of stuff came back. But this is from his arrest for harassment. It's not super recent, within the last 3 weeks anyway, but this didn't happen, today or anything like that. This is kind of old.
Right. I died to a story. It's halfway across the map and just kind of flicked me on the nose.
We have audio here. Okay, yeah.
I don't get why people crouch fame in this game of all things. It doesn't change anything.
Inside pockets on this. I don't know. I haven't looked. Okay, let me look. I still don't understand what I'm being arrested for. Okay, you have arrested for felony harassment. What harassment? I'm standing in front of the police building. Who am I harassing? And then do these pants have any pockets on them? Probably not. Not yet. So I think that put this in evidence. What's that? You work at? No. Does it look like it? I'm just asking. I know, but you're asking a lot of redundant questions. I mean, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but you can clearly see I'm not wearing it. I'm going to use the back of my hand to search your crotch area. Thanks, bud. Anything else on you that I missed? This is my car. We're going to switch up cars in a second. Unless you guys plan something.
Okay, I'm ready to do it now. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in a court of law. You have the right at this time to talk to a lawyer and have him present with you while you're being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one is appointed to represent you for questioning if you wish. You can decide at any time to exercise these rights without answering questions. Do you understand these rights I've explained to you?
No, because my lawyer's not present. And you said you read the rights, so you said I have the right to have my lawyer present. He's not present.
Before questioning, can I read them to you again, maybe? I'll read them again. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in a court of law. You have the right at this time to talk to a lawyer and have him present with you while you are being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before questioning if you wish. You can decide at any time to exercise these rights and not answer any questions or make any statements. Do you understand each of these rights I have explained to you?
I guess.
Okay. Having these rights in mind, do you wish to talk to us now?
If you tell me what's going on, sure.
Okay. So right now you're under arrest for felony harassment.
For who?
For some actions that you just did when I was coming through with you right there.
I'm confused. What do you mean?
Well, you took your hand out of your pocket and moved it towards my face. Really
No,
quick.
that's not true.
Well, that's what happened.
No, that's
Okay.
not.
So I'm just telling you that's what you're under arrest.
Okay. Well, I mean, you can. I didn't do nothing to you. I don't have nothing. So I mean, you can.
Okay. Well, that's why you're under arrest for felony harassment.
It's not going to stick. I didn't harass you. How did I harass you?
Okay. Well, I was worried that you had a gun in your hand.
No, come on. Oh, come on.
So you can absolutely talk to a judge about that. And you'll have an opportunity to do that in the morning. Maybe today, but most likely in the morning. Do you have any other questions for us right now?
You're saying I had a gun.
I'm not saying that.
Is that on?
I didn't know if you had a gun.
You're saying I had a gun.
Nope. And I didn't say that. You're saying that.
No, you said I was worried you had a gun.
That's what I said.
That's what you said, right?
Do you have any questions for me right now? My name is Cerio.
I don't even know who you are.
Okay.
All I was doing is standing on the island.
Okay. Well, I was worried for my life.
Oh, come on.
And I would like to remind you, sir, you did tell us 2 times that you were going to buy a firearm.
Yeah. I'm gonna buy a firearm. Yeah. Okay.
Well, the last time you were here, that's what you said.
I don't remember that.
To
Okay.
2 different officers.
It's on the recording inside the PD.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm holding a phone. Okay. So.
Okay. Not with the hand you took out of your pocket. Do you have any other questions for us right now before you head up to jail?
I took my hand out of my phone, and that says I'm holding a weapon.
No, you're not saying what I said. I'm not sure what you're saying.
I'm saying that if you think I took my hand out of my pocket, maybe my hand came out. It's normal, in and out. I don't.
Okay. Well, we're gonna write a search warrant for the video on your phone, and that will likely show what happened out there.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
I mean,
any other questions for us right now?
I would like to speak to my lawyer.
Okay. You absolutely have an opportunity to do that in jail.
No, that didn't happen last time. I was put in a cell for 12 hours.
Okay. I'm not asking you any questions about what happened. I'm just telling you what's going on.
Right, but you're wrong.
No.
Okay. I mean, if that's how you feel.
No, it's not how I feel. It's just what
I haven't done nothing to you.
Okay.
All I did was stand behind the gate. That's all I did.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
Someone getting a car.
I would like to. Why don't you just write me a citation?
Want to grab your car?
Because I have
I think you are.
a job to go to on Monday.
So, all right, grab your car.
I'm just transporting.
Come on,
Yeah,
man.
he's doing
It doesn't have to. This
Yeah,
is
so let's
stupid.
get him in the car because.
I'm gonna have you. Can he sit in this
You
car?
can
for
totally
just a
sit in his car for a second. Yep. It's nice and warm.
Yeah, that's right.
And just so you know, sir, you will also be receiving a ticket for using your electronic device while driving with your booking property.
What are you talking about?
Yes, bring it over here.
I don't know what you're talking about.
If you're warming here with your coat on, you can turn on the AC.
Maybe just turn off this wheel.
Turn on. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, man. Honestly, I really don't know what you're talking about. Honestly, I was standing outside with the phone. all the cameras out here will see that.
They certainly will. I'm counting.
Okay, will I be released? You know?
I believe you're just going to need to see a judge, which will likely occur in the morning. And then it will be up to him or her whether or not you're going to be released.
I have to go to work on Monday.
I hear you.
You act like I target you. I don't even know you.
He said turn the heat down, right? I'll turn it down.
You're that butthurt, huh? Paul, you're that butthurt.
He's here. We're swinging another vehicle around, and then we're gonna put him in that vehicle. So I believe Officer Hogerhide is gonna transport him.
Okay.
Copy.
Ready there? Okay.
Thank you. Sorry for the house.
It's right there.
I have you in touch with what's going on.
He's in the fresh can, yeah, so he has it with his property.
I don't know what game you guys are playing. This is stupid though. Balls all butthurt. So you're trying to like, you know. Balls all butthurt. You're gonna have to be completed before you know that. Like if you're gonna lie to the judge, I mean, can you have a CCT? Yeah, I'll have a, I'm saying if you're gonna lie to the judge, I mean.
You know, so I'm just gonna
Come on, I don't even know you. You're saying I have a weapon. I don't have a weapon.
You know, that's not what I said. That's what you're saying.
No, you said I pulled my hand out of my pocket and you were afraid for your life that I had a weapon. That's what you said.
That's exactly what I said.
Right.
Can you slide to your left for me just a little bit?
If you were afraid I had a weapon, why didn't you stop? It doesn't make sense. You can clearly see I don't have a weapon.
Okay. Are you okay there like that?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
Wanted to know if I filmed anything. This live stream is still on there. You wanted to see it.
Oh, from.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's still on his website or on his YouTube page?
I don't know if it's on his website or just on my phone. I don't know if it's still on his phone.
Okay. Oh, for this. Okay.
Yeah, he was standing out there the whole time. But he was asking me if I had it recorded, and I said no, he was live streaming.
Password? You mind if I know the password?
So,
Hello, sir.
Okay. Yeah, let me see if we can find that, and if not, maybe I'll bring the other officer out here and
Okay.
see if he wants to take a recording of that or something.
okay.
So,
And again, Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and then just so you know, you are being audio video recorded.
Yeah. Because I can't have any of this on here. My son doesn't even like the fact that I'm over here.
Okay. All right. Let me just touch base with the other officer because he was wanting to talk to you. If you want to hang tight for a second, I'll already bring him out here. If he says he doesn't need it, I'll let you know. All right.
Can we have him just hang out in the front of the lobby?
Actually, yeah. If you just want
the
to.
front door right there of the PD.
Okay.
Yeah, because officers might be coming in and out and just not startle them.
Officer Holgerhide is on his way, and I'm going to start working on the super. Yeah.
So, just another day in the life of Glenn Cerio. There is CCT footage that actually corroborates most of what is on the police report. I can see why the police, felt like there was some sort of danger, particularly with just the cumulative effect of the way that he is with the police and the way that he is baiting these interactions. So, there's also footage from the lobby. Some of this I'm seeing for the first time because Pat grabbed it and then fell asleep on me or something. So let's see if we can pull up this other one. I haven't actually seen this other one. So it looks like it's in the lobby of the police station, which I'm sure will be fantastic. Here we go.
Can I help you? Can I help you? What is that?
You're being audio and video recorded, Glenn.
Okay, so this is the actual incident that led to the arrest.
You can't be on this property.
Who said that?
I just said.
Oh, so I'm being trespassed.
No, you're under arrest. Hands out of your pockets. Hands out of your pockets.
No, listen.
Hands out of your pockets.
I'm not doing that. Listen. I wasn't told not to come here.
I'll advise you right in there.
I wasn't in the lobby or anything.
Is that okay for you?
I wasn't told to leave the property. Ever.
Can you explain everything to you in just 1 second?
I don't know what you're explaining.
Do you have enough room in those handcuffs there? Is that okay for you?
It's a little bit tight.
Which one?
This left one.
The left one? Kind of loosen it a little bit?
Yeah.
Like this.
Sir, I'm just gonna ask that you stay back, all right?
Okay.
Out of the street. Yep, sidewalk's fine.
Absolutely reported, sir.
Sidewalk's fine. Out of the
Stay
street,
back,
please.
please.
If that's your car, that's not a parking spot. It's a lane of travel.
How about that? Is that okay?
I don't know what
Is that a
that
little
is.
better? Okay.
There they go. They're going.
Do you have any weapons on you?
Nope.
I'm just going to pat you down real quick. We'll do a search in just a second. I'll read some stuff to you.
What am I being arrested for?
So right now you're under arrest for felony harassment.
What do you mean felony harassment?
I'll explain everything to you in just a second.
I haven't done nothing wrong.
Why don't
We can walk through there, yeah.
we go in there and we'll
Yeah.
do a search? And,
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to grab the car and so we can open the gate here?
So why don't we walk over there? How am I being arrested for felony harassment?
So I just can't have you standing here because this is where the vehicles come in and out. But
I knew you just went.
Let's talk about before he arrests you. Just what we can do.
So my bad. That was actually another angle of the arrest. So that's Glenn. I see some controversy popping off in the chat that we can kind of knock off one by one, but I do see some people saying, well, police lie. I do not see that as being the case. I've read the report. There is CCT footage, which unfortunately I don't have to stream right now because Pat fell asleep with it, but it corroborates, what they were saying. This is Glenn. He has a pattern of this. It's not, they're not accusing him of anything that's like way outside of the realm of possibility. And it's all backed up by video footage, both his and the police's. This is just, this is the norm for Glenn at this point. And, he was on a probation agreement that he clearly could not follow the terms of. So it'll be interesting to see how this pans out in court. He has it at 8:30 a.m. Pacific. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Alex. Yep. So you can watch it live. I probably will be. So just to see what happens. Pat sleeps with videos. Yeah. I mean, Pat really has not been feeling well lately. Community, it's not all lie, but some fabricate because of the camera. Yeah. I just don't see that as the case here. Yeah. The CCT footage makes it pretty clear that Glenn did exactly what they alleged that he did. Where that'll, pan out in court, I don't know. There have been some probable cause hearings as of late. Some hearings as of late where the judge has questioned the probable cause statements, how they're written. So it'll be interesting to see how this pans out. All right. So. Yep, we're gonna, poor Pat. He did get this uploaded anyway, though, so I appreciate that. The next order of business here, I guess we'll get to the whole Watchdog controversy, because I've had some very, very, very sharp blowback about the idea that we look into these allegations against people like Virgo Triad, Vilified Freedom. There are a couple others that I'm not even going to mention right now because they're in the very early stages of sort of ferreting out and vetting, so I'm not going to even say anything until it looks like there may be something there. I just want to explain that when we started this channel a couple years ago now, for the movie, not Starbucks, I'm going to spend it on Starbucks. I'm just kidding. Thank you, Navin. And somebody else did a super chat earlier and I pinned it because I was going to thank them and forgot, but thank you to whoever you are. I'm terrible at monetizing this shit. We should just turn it off. Anyway, so we do not pick sides here. When we started this 2 years ago, it was because I had come across First Amendment auditors and I had a really visceral reaction to the way that they behaved. Hold on just a second. Even my dog gets upset about it. But, it was the very obvious scamming and grifting that came along with it, the moral bandstanding against the police, the confrontations that they were creating for revenue. And that was the issue that we took. And certainly along the way, we've argued the legality of things and the morality and everything else. But I'm certainly not a lawyer, nor am I YouTube's moral arbitrator. So I only call it like I see it. That extends to many, many corners of the internet. It does not just, stay in the 1A community. There are plenty of people on the internet that are engaging in the same sort of patterns of behavior under different guises, different facades. The watchdog community at this point, if I'm being completely honest and transparent, I think pisses me off more than the auditors. Because these are people that I am watching use YouTube and their subscribers as their personal emergency and discretionary funds. They are coming up and organizing massive fundraisers, taking tens of thousands of dollars from people with varying degrees of transparency, while they are at the same time, in the same breath, condemning the 1A auditors for doing essentially the same thing. We come on here, we do these shows for fun, varying degrees of success depending on what we're doing, but never are we ever going to sit here and tell you that my problems or Harry's problems or Pat's problems or Alex's problems, personally and financially, are your problems. They're not. I will not tell you how many times that my bank account has gone into the negative over the last 6 months. It could be 0, it could be 60. You will never know because it's not your fucking business, nor is it your problem. My finances are my problem, right? And that is something that I consider to be the cornerstone of self-sufficiency and integrity out here. We're adults, we take care of ourselves. I am not seeing that with the watchdogs, and they are coming up here and they are operating under this appearance of moral superiority. They're really grandstanding. Well, at least I'm not a frauditor. And when you call them out on their shit, they go, whoa, hold on guys. What about Glenn Cerio? We all hate Glenn Cerio, right? What about PayPal Patty? We all hate that should not be the unifying factor here, who people hate, right? Because hate is a very blinding emotion, and it is a complete smokescreen to what is really going on here, which is that you are getting ilked of your money. That is not okay. So yes, we are looking into vilified freedom. It is not complete yet. I am not going to exonerate him at this point, nor am I going to condemn him. I'm going to say that things were brought to our attention. We've looked into them. We found that there are at least some shreds of validity that merit a closer look. When we do come out with it, we will be fair. We may not be nice, depending on, what the situation is, but we will be fair. Okay, so I'm not going to condemn the guy at this point, but I'm going to say that there are several things that have popped up that are concerning. And there are things that we have determined have been said publicly on that channel that are simply not true. And we can prove that. And that's a problem for me. That is a problem for me. So I'm going to open it up now, though, because I know that there are people, and it's okay if you're upset. It is okay if you're upset about this. I'm not going to hold it against you. One thing that I think differentiates us from a lot of these channels, both auditors and watchdogs, is that if you have a dissenting opinion or you just don't fucking like me, that's okay. You're still welcome here. We can talk about it. So there's the link if anyone wants to jump up and we can talk about it. Someone said, bother VF, you bother the order. I mean, that's fine. If you want to give a stranger on the internet your blind loyalty one way or the other, whether it's deserved or not, that's your prerogative. I don't encourage that here. Oh, nobody talks shit about Glenn Lambright, though. Come on. Someone asks, what the hell are watchdogs? So, yeah, again, during the inception of this channel, there weren't a lot of people talking about the 1A auditors. There were essentially the 1A auditors that existed in an echo chamber. There was a channel called Audit the Audit that has become pretty successful. And they would do sort of, mostly unbiased, sort of objective rundown and analysis of different audits. They were pretty fair about it, and that was really about it. And so I got introduced to Josh Abrams when I was writing for Turtle Boy, and I took an interest to the whole, I guess, kind of subculture. And through that, I was introduced to Merb's Speakeasy on Discord, where I connected with a group of other people that dedicated a lot of time and effort to, exposing sort of the darker side of auditing. And, part of the reason that there wasn't a lot of visibility to what they were doing was because, as we know now, auditors do some dirty things to get your channels taken down. And a lot of these people had their channels taken down. So it was a good group. It was a core group. It was a small group. And I really believed in the work that we were doing, collectively, especially the people that I met were doing fantastic work far before I ever even touched this. Then we started to see people trickling in that called themselves Watchdogs and Debunkers. And they trickle in over the last 5 years. And they start doing these reaction videos and these, Virgo did a lot of consumer alert videos and stuff like that. And there was always some sort of sob story attached behind it. I take exception to that. It's one thing, I guess, if you have your super chats up and there's sort of a gratuity system for the entertainment or I hate to use this word, but education that these people claim to be giving. That's fine. But when, you have personal emergency after personal emergency and all these financial needs that you are just lumping onto your subscribers, that's a fucking problem. That is a problem. So that's what the watchdog community sort of is. It's like the counterculture to the 1A auditing culture. And, wrapped up within that, you see a lot of the same behaviors. Oh, look who we got here. Two of my favorites, Harry Balls and Desert Sentinel.
Hello, Desert. Hello, Kate.
Hello.
Sorry I'm late.
Hello, Harry. Hello, Kate.
Thank you, Ed, for the donation. Thank you, Nathan, for the donation. And thank you, Michael, also.
Thanks, guys. Sorry. Listen, I'm telling you, I am shit at this. I am an ungrateful bitch.
She is.
Yeah.
I mean, we raised about $17 after the hurricane effect for Kate, and she didn't thank any of us, so that was very rude of her.
Thank you. You replaced the lawn chair.
We did. It's now upright.
No. Don't ask me where the other, it was a $10 lawn chair. Don't ask me where the other $7 went.
It went towards meth. So, Desert, what's your opinion?
Well, I think Kate and I have had some discussions in the past about it, and I did my feelers and found some information. I know it goes deeper than that, though. I'm sure you were probably getting information on some of the rabbit holes that people were talking to me about, but I kind of I got tired of the whole affair.
It's funny you said that because actually Kate and I had that same conversation kind of last night. Masshole has kind of got lumped into the whole genre with these people. And I don't think we've ever identified ourselves as cop watchers or scam busters, or people come to Kate and myself with information, we look into it and we say yay or nay, and we run with the facts, not feelings.
We get a lot of bullshit, just to be clear.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
A lot of bullshit. A lot of personal shit. A lot of he said, she said that I just don't have time for. I understand that it's interesting, sort of the salacious drama, especially around Discord, but nothing that we would put on this channel. But it's fair. It's an equal opportunity smackdown here, guys. I'm a free motherfucking agent. There is no, I think that on the internet, loyalty breeds ignorance. Okay. That's just, you have blind loyalty. Well, I really like this person. I've liked a lot of shitty people. It doesn't make what they do any less shitty. That's just the God's honest truth. Not what I'm out here to do. I'm not here to make friends. I like the friends I made. Don't get me wrong. You can be my friend if you want, but I'm not going to people please or shy away from uncomfortable topics, even if it upsets my own subscriber base. I'm okay with that. You're either with us or you're not, or you're with us sometimes and not on other things. Whatever you want to do doesn't bother me, but we're going to look into things that get, brought to our attention that seem to have some merit. And sometimes, unfortunately, you're not going to like who it is.
Sure. And I think the way I approached you with what I had found was more of as I put it, I always like to have somebody double check my math. And, I wasn't going to go out there just, look what I found. The guy's a fucking scammer, artist, grifter. I wanted somebody else to take a second look at it. I had a bias. I had a bias with him because he was calling people that I'm friends with a bunch of meth heads without any actual proof, and come to find out if he's not a grifter, he's a bit of an asshole and always has been. You question him about anything, and next thing you know, you're getting personal attacks by the guy. But did it make him a grifter? That's what I wanted to know, right?
Yeah, and I'm
It-
not
it-
going to get into the particulars because, like, again, I can privately tell you what we found on that situation so far. Unfortunately, I mean, does the math add up? Yeah, the math adds up. I would say that in that situation, the ask was transparent. The circumstances around the ask are extremely questionable. And so we're deferring to documents on that. We're deferring to documents on most of these things. And there's other GoFundMe's that have popped up for situations that as of right now never fucking happened, and that's a huge red flag, huge problem here. And I thank you, Preston John, who said, if they can label you, they can run a narrative on you. Yeah, I mean, that's, like, I don't want to be, shoved into a category. Somebody else invoked Schrodinger's cat name. Okay, hold on, I gotta go back to this comment because I'm not gonna lie. Kind of annoyed me. It kind of annoyed me. Yeah, sob story for the watchdog community. I don't know about that. I do know that. Just that my house blew up and I was thrown back 20 feet. I lost everything. I have traumatic brain injuries and I need $100,000 for my $15,000 rented trailer. Go fuck yourself. That's a sob story, okay? Like, I'm sorry. Schrodinger's cat. Do I think he's more bad than the Frauditors? No, and I think that he's deceased and we did not invoke his name at all. He was my friend. Again, we're not lumping everybody in together here. We're not. That's the entire point of this. There are no sides. There are no allegiances. There is no blind loyalty. And just because you label yourself a watchdog does not make you an upfront, transparent, fiscally responsible human being.
Well, Kate, my name is Michael. My channel name is Strokasalter because I had a stroke. And if I wanted to start some GoFundMe, I probably could, but I'm with Kate. My problems are my problems. I'm not going to sit here and, shell out a shingle for people to throw money downrange at me. In fact, if someone attempted to, I would deny that opportunity. And hello, Pat, and hello, Harry. I think the Frauditor auditor community has created cults of personality, and it's polarized people. I was a fan of Schrodinger's cat. At one point, he allowed me on his channel to debate a flat earther, and it went swimmingly well. I've watched Vilified Freedom. He's not my cup of tea. I used to watch Virgo Triad. I found her very informative. And then when things started to circle the toilet, I find this very nepotistic, very cutthroat, and not worth the effort.
No, absolutely. Community Leo Watch, if you want to come up, please come up. I'd love to have you up here. You definitely have some opposing views that Kate and I don't necessarily see eye to eye with. Kate and I were talking last night, and it's kind of going back to this, what Community Leo Watch put up here about GoFundMe's. Honestly, in my eyes, and I don't want to speak for Kate, but I think she'll agree, it just seems to be a money grab anymore. Unless you're willing to be 100% transparent and put your medical information out there and your treatments and what you're going for, which 99% of these people don't do, it's just a money grab.
I completely agree with you. And I have significant medical issues and other issues that I could definitely use financial support for, but I'm not about to go hat in hand to the zillions of people on the internet.
No, and that's it's funny because I was saying last night, it just seems like it's a bottomless money pit. People that you never would think would give money or need to be e-begging for money. We call it e-begging, GoFundMe's, whatever you want to call it. It's nonstop. You can't go to one channel and not find someone who is.
Hello.
Oh, okay then.
well, and on that point, like when you look at the Frauditor community, as soon as they're about to get arrested, they immediately start e-begging for bail. Like, guys, I'm about to get arrested, guys. Please, call my lawyer. And, here's my PayPal link and my whatever account. So if you can please send me bail money now. Like, that almost immediately happens.
Yeah, and that was something that drew sharp criticism, and I think deservedly so, because if you get arrested and you have bail, that is squarely your own problem. that is not everybody else's problem. And most of the time when you I'll say most of the time because it's not all of the time, and I would not be accurate if I said all of the time, but most of the time these arrests were justified, right? And entirely preventable. And the fact that you got hemmed up and you have your hands out, asking for bail, which I think we've said before a million times on this channel, if these idiots started a bail fund, it could just revolve. You wouldn't have to constantly dive into your subscribers' pockets because at some point that bail is going to be returned.
One small problem with that, Kate. They continue to get arrested before their current bail has expired.
Well, I theoretically, of course. I guess the point is that we've watched the bail scams for a long time. The bails get paid by the subscribers, and you never hear about it again. That money just goes into the ether. Right.
Well, see, I personally think it is cheaper for Glenn Cerio to get arrested to have the opportunity to have a shower than it is for him to get a YMCA membership. Because like the only woman that has seen him naked in the last 6 months is a prison nurse.
Right.
Yeah. And she's probably needing counseling. And like Glenn Cerio is just the worst bad example.
No, he's not. He's not.
No.
He's not.
Oh, really?
No.
He's a vile piece of. No, he's a PayPal Patty, John Gray, not John Gray. I shouldn't use John. Earl Wharton. There's tons.
I'm sorry. Yeah, this kind of annoys me too because like Glenn's gotten a lot of exposure. And again, like I always harp on this, and I know it sounds super narcissistic, and maybe it is, but we are a large reason for why he's gotten so much exposure. We are.
Oh, absolutely. We are.
We picked him up from obscurity. We got him thrown in the news over in Washington. We blew the guy up. So people are looking at his behavior is reprehensible. But if you look at his record and the actual damage that he's done to his community or other human beings, it is negligible compared to individuals such as News Now Houston, Earl David Warden, or Josh Abrams, Accountability for All. Just off the top, or Furry Potato. Furry Potato.
Floyd is one day going to accidentally be successful at forever asleep by law enforcement.
Well, it's funny because we kind of glossed over it, and Kate mentioned it a minute ago. The one thing we never hear about is you always see this e-begging for their bail money, but a lot of times these charges are dismissed, and no one ever questions where's that bail money gone. It's gone back into their wallets. It's never gone back to people contribute for it. It goes back into the auditor's wallet, and you're talking big amounts of money.
Yeah, and just to put a bow on it, that has drawn sharp criticism, and I would say rightfully so. But we have on the other end of it these noble debunkers, right? These people who make these videos who are also taking tens of thousands of dollars from their subscribers. And there's never a thought to where that goes afterwards. There's never any real conversation about, is this necessary? There are plenty of people that need plenty of things in this world. I would say that, overall, we inhabit a very small pocket of the internet. There's not a huge draw to this. It's not, we're not getting hundreds of thousands of people tuning into these live streams that anyone does to talk about people like Glenn Cerio and, News Now Houston or anything like that. So it's a small pocket of the internet. Within that small pocket, I would say that there's probably thousands of people that could use furniture, a house, food for their children, right? Why are we determining a few people, a few assholes with YouTube channels, and I'm going to, lump myself in that too, because I'm an asshole with a YouTube channel. Why are we determining that they are worthy of this exorbitant financial assistance, right? Like what qualifies them?
Well, the best part is they're getting and this doesn't matter what side of the coin you're on. On the auditor community, you're getting social assistance, so to speak, and you're either getting bail money that you pocket, or you're getting bail money that you pocket after it takes care of your fines.
Well,
right? And if you're on the auditor community, like if you're on the auditor watch community or whatever you want to call it, unfortunately, there has been, that I'm aware of, and you find people, including Kate, may be aware of other incidents, such as one person claiming to have cancer when they didn't. You had the whole, my house blew up and blew me into the next county. And I'm also a doctor, but that's because my dad was a doctor. And then now the potential for vilified freedom to be a bit janky. Like what is it that we don't do as an audience to hold them to a sort of the same standard of suspicion?
I think you have to. I think if you're not, for me, I can't speak for everyone else. For me, the Virgo Triad thing, you'd see Virgo's GoFundMe's, 4,000 here, 5,000 here, 2,000 there. You thought nothing of it. It's going to a good cause. She speaks really well, and it's got to be a good cause. When we all dug into the Virgo Triad stuff, I think the final number we came up with GoFundMe's and PayPal's, Kate, correct me if I'm wrong, was close to nearly $100,000 within a year and a half.
Yep.
If not a year. Yeah, it was close to 100,000. And this was documented facts that we found, all the GoFundMe's and the PayPal donations. It was close to $100,000. And that was eye-opening for me. It was like, what the holy fuck? And then look at Eric Brandt when he got arrested in Colorado several years ago, and his bond was $70,000. They raised that within 3 or 4 days. One person contributed something like $35,000 or something like that. It was something ridiculous. So I mean, I think if you're very naive, if you don't go into it being skeptical about what your money's going to.
Well, look at the bail situation. So I'm going to use Kyle Rittenhouse as an example because he's the best example right now. His entire bail fund was almost exclusively raised by social media, by GoFundMe. And right now there's a legal fight ongoing about where does that money go to, right? How much of it should be refunded to the original contributors? How much of it needs to be paid to his lawyer? So there's currently something going on legally in reference to that. But generally, I'm a Canadian, so I understand your legal system a little bit. In my understanding, and I could be wrong, in most jurisdictions, the bail money is supposed to be given back to the originator. So
correct.
So if I had gotten bail from my dad, for example, legally I'm supposed to give him the money back.
Well, the courts will generally. They
yeah.
And I think Felipe brought up a good point that yes, if they use a bail bondsman, that's not going to be refundable because you're paying a percentage. They're going to keep that. They pay the rest, and then they get that back.
Right.
So that's the cost of it. But there are states where they don't have bail bondsmen. I live in one. There's times when these subscribers are pulling together and paying all the bail directly, particularly if it's under $10,000. But at the same time, there's a certain level of transparency that I find, maybe transparency isn't the right word, but if you're donating to an auditor on some level, that you're donating to someone who has been accused of a crime. There's no pretenses about that. You generally know who they are. You can look up the record for yourself. We have a lot of these watchdogs that are, Virgo is a good example, hiding under the veil of anonymity. And when you pull that back, you find that, similar behaviors to the auditors in some cases. Not that a criminal record is a scathing indictment of your entire character per se. I was talking to somebody about some of this, watchdog stuff that's coming out. They were very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very eager and enthusiastic to say, well, look what I found on this person and this person's family member and this and that. Every single criminal charge does not apply as evidence in every single thing that we're looking into. If you have a drug possession charge from 6 months ago, but you're being accused of being a grifter, that doesn't really, it doesn't really apply. You know what I mean? It just doesn't.
Well, and not only that, from what I understand, from the Virgo Triad scenario, she had a history of financial impropriety. Right? To put it politely, she had a history of writing bad checks or obtaining bad credit or just doing shenanigans in general terms. So if she's seeking GoFundMes or other sort of crowdsourcing money, obviously you need to have a jaundiced eye there. With people like Cerio or Eric Brandt, you know exactly why you're donating money because you probably watched the live stream of them getting put in handcuffs.
Right.
Well, and that's just it. Most of these auditors are getting arrested. If you look at their crimes, don't get me wrong, auditors are a huge pain in the ass. They, in my eyes, serve no purpose whatsoever. But they're not being arrested for major crimes. It's all petty little nuisance crimes.
yeah.
Most of them. I mean, don't get me wrong. We have our Eric Brandts.
well,
We have our News New
That's not
Englands.
right. That's not right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, not
There's
News,
that
not
murder up
Houston.
in there is that murder up in Washington State from kind of a cop watching type. So
That was the kid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's there's a lot of sex offenders, and
Yes.
Josh Abrams, despite how much he wants to bury it, he didn't do prison time for standing up for your rights in a disorderly. He did prison time for armed robbery. One of his victims was a 15-year-old store clerk. So I would not say, I would say that, but these things are like, they're public enough, they're not
Yes.
hiding, and they're certainly not turning around and going, well, at least I'm not a scammer like this person, but give me your money.
I think, and although I have a Nom To Internet, right, I use my real name on my channel. The medical event where my brain that one day tried to kill me was watched by 150 people because it happened at work. I'm not going to share my medical records because I openly talk about my problems on my channel, but I'm not going to share my medical records because it's not germane to the discussion. I might just talk about situations in specific. Yes, I will do that. But I'm not going to show you my MRI and go, look, that's the spot that's dead inside my head, as opposed to the spot that's dead inside my heart or my soul. And I'm not looking for money, right? But I think Virgo Triad is a good example. She had a definite cult of personality where if you were on the Virgo Triad bandwagon per se, she could do no wrong. And if you tried to say anything bad against her, because I remember watching the stream where when the whole Virgo situation had come to like a volcanic head, and there was that 5 or 6 days of tension on the internet between various factions, and then with the young lady who claimed she had cancer and eventually came clean and she didn't have cancer. I think some of these people, what's the word I'm looking for, expect us to be naive.
Well, we are. I think we all are, and we're very. I think we're starting to see the light more and more, especially after Virgo. But if you give, no one's saying don't give money. If you want to give all your money away, give your money away. But when we poke fun at you and point you and laugh at you, don't get upset at us.
Yeah, no, we're not your financial advisors.
Well,
right. But I am going to, and again, Virgo opened my eyes to it. I definitely did. And, I see somebody that's, well, Virgo, who else? Listen, until I'm not going to just throw out accusations left and right until I vet them out. It's just not anything that I feel is.
Well, the thing is, you can't just arbitrarily and absentmindedly throw an accusation.
Well, I mean, I can.
Well, you can, but
Right.
Slander, libel, and defamation can become your nemesis at the same point.
Oh my goodness! Listen, honestly, so I've been around a long time. You hear that all the time. You will. It blows your mind, especially sort of on the bottom of YouTube community. Everybody's calling everybody a pedophile every day a week. Very, very damaging accusation. With no proof, 9 times out of 10. Are there any lawsuits that are going to come from that? No. I mean, this is YouTube. Obviously we're not millionaires here. We got a guy who literally fucking crowdfunded his fucking trailer. Okay. Like we're not millionaires here. Right. So I don't refrain from doing so because of fear of litigation. That's just not the case. Frankly, you can throw out perfectly well-researched and, founded accusations against somebody with all the proof. They can still come and sue you. Nothing stops them from doing that. It's still the same expense, to go through that at the end of the day. That's just true. The reason that I don't is because I do have a scintilla of respect and concern for other people's reputations, and I don't want to arbitrarily, trash them without knowing what I'm talking about, which is, where we're sitting with vilified freedom right now. There was enough smoke that I found it prudent to let him know that I'm looking into this and invite him to certainly reach out. I am not going to make great labors to reach out to you at this point because I do generally deal with documents. People lie all the time. I don't necessarily take people's stories at face value. I'll listen to you. If it makes sense, it makes sense. But I rely on the documents more than anything else. But that way he's aware. So if he has anything, I know he's not feeling well, so certainly no pressure there. But if you want to explain anything, then I'm more than happy to listen. I'm happy to listen to your detractors as well. And I also, wanted to open it up. And it seems like there are some people who have been affected by his behavior. And since announcing that, we've had more people flood in. So it just helps me get a better idea of the picture overall. Not anything that anyone tells me, verbally without any evidence to support it is gospel to me. I'll throw that out there, though.
Well, good luck with getting a conversation with him, because I attempted on many occasions, and all I got was a lot of pejoratives and vulgarities and accusations thrown my way. So best of luck.
Yeah, that's the impression that I'm getting here, is that he is not somebody who likes to be questioned, which is like,
it's
a sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
right. I mean, look what Virgo did. I mean, that's exactly the. I mean, as soon as anyone questioned Virgo, the camps are divided. And it was the Hatfields and the McCoys, and either you're with her or you're against her. And she got very, very visceral towards people that were against her. And once again, it wasn't based on emotion. It wasn't based on anything other than the paperwork that we were able to dig up of what we found across the U.S. with her.
Yeah, I don't really deal in, he said, she said accusations and gossip. I just don't, because people lie. It's not just people don't always intentionally lie. There can be a difference of perception that kind of muddies the waters. Two people can view a situation in two completely different ways. And it can be difficult to kind of parse out what objectively happened. So I like documentation first and foremost. That is what is most important to me. Police reports, or lack of police reports in some cases, property records, financial statements.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you've put up a document at one point that you feel like exonerates you, and you thought you deleted the community post, but we got a screenshot of that document and we were able to get the whole source document and determine that you were lying. Just hypothetically speaking, of course. right. But that's the sort of stuff that I rely on more than anything else, and I'm happy to hear it out. But I just want to make this abundantly clear, and I don't care how this gets misconstrued or something. When it comes to YouTube, this is not my everyday life. This is not real life for me. There is no fucking loyalty here. Just because I think you're a nice person and I like you, or if I've been on your stream or allowed you on my stream at some point, like if there is something that pops off, some sort of controversy, I am going to do my best, my due diligence to get to the bottom of it. And I am going to put out what I find without very much emotion behind it. You know what I mean? It's not about whether I like you or not. The facts don't really give a fuck.
Okay, so Kate, on that note, I'm going to announce my new GoFundMe right now, so you can start to debunk it immediately. I'm going to be going to the Frankenstein Institute to get a new brain. So I'm going to crowdsource for a new brain.
Michael, how long have you been following this sector of the world?
Actually, I had my stroke on the 21st of June, 2018, and so I spent 6 months at home doing a whole lot of nothing. YouTube. I started watching Virgo Triad. And then,
so have you ever heard of the Colonel?
The Colonel.
I'm sure Naven and Desert and Kate are kind of grinning right now.
No, because I started watching a couple of different channels, and then I started watching Schrodinger's cat, and I kind of fell down the flat Earth rabbit hole, and then the sovereign citizen rabbit hole, then the Moors, and then I stumbled upon this menagerie of fine people.
I don't even know the full story about the Colonel. Like I said, that's when I first came into this so-called community. The Colonel was supposedly retired Marine Colonel, disabled Marine Colonel who was bound to a wheelchair, did all kinds of donos, GoFundMes, PayPals, all kinds of good stuff. And then one day, doing a live stream, they thought they turned their camera off, and by the power of Jesus, they stood up and walked across the house.
Oh, God.
And their camera was not turned off. And then she was also on an episode of Cops one night, which was quite funny, too. He was a transvestite and got beat up, or he beat somebody up. And it was just, again, that was kind of my eye-opening to this community.
That sort of sounds like
about that story is right before that, a day or two before that, or a night before that. It was right during that time when when the Colonel got up and walked out of the wheelchair. she was begging for some money for her dog who fell ill and needed, I think it was $1,600, I think, of vet bills. And so she was talking about it and all that, doing the grifting thing. Oh, my dog, my dog, my dog, oh, my dog. And during that stream, the people in the stream got together the money, the whole amount, to pay for the dog, the vet bill for the dog. You'd think she would be excited and ecstatic. Oh, thank God, my dog's going to live, right? But they said that they were just going to pay the vet directly. The dog we'll just pay the vet. We'll take care of it. Well, And she said, oh, no. My vet doesn't. She needs the money to come directly from me. It has to come from me. Not. I don't know of any doctor or vet that doesn't take a payment from you. She wanted the money. She got freaked out. She's like, holy shit, they got the money together. Now what do I want to give it to the other? I want to give it to the doctor or the vet. So she.
Thank you, Preston John. Didn't they raise money for a wheelchair for her also? A new electric wheelchair or something? Yeah.
Wait, whoa. I'm ex-Canadian military. If she's a legitimate vet, and especially in the States, because your Veterans Affairs, is significantly different than what we have here. If she was a bona fide vet,
she made full bird in 20 years.
Yeah.
Give me a break. Give me a break.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it didn't happen. That was her lifestyle.
And if she needed an adaptive device, she would just call the VA and go, "Yo, bitches, hook me up."
Right.
And it would show up within 30 days after needless.
Well, Nathan,
twice.
We had a copy of the Colonel's DD-214 that was still opened in the paint program, wasn't it?
Yeah. 100% fraud. Yes, thank you, Levi. I'm sorry. So Scraps is really argumentative. It would be easier, Scraps, honestly, if you came up here to have this conversation, just because otherwise you're getting lost in the flow of the chat. There's almost 700 people here right now, so I'm not great at keeping up here. But I mean, you really, really, really focused on quantifying.
Kate, is it okay if I backtrack a little bit? Because I mean, you guys kind of said a lot of things I wanted to say, but one thing. Talking about the Virgo thing first, and then how much money do you think she would have generated if people knew that she had an extensive past of significant theft by deception through checks and bad checks and things like kiting type thing? How much money? Obviously we know the answer to that. People are like, fuck you, you're crazy. You've been convicted. You're a felon of theft by deception.
Well, I mean, I don't even know if that necessarily. I mean, can you?
I wouldn't. Who would? The thing about what I'm trying to get at is information and knowledge is the key here. And we're kind of at a place now, because I do believe that we should help out our fellow man in need. But the three things I'd want to check, all three of these boxes, is this situation they're going through, is it 100% honest? Is it 100% accurate? And can it be founded based on things that are verifiable, or is it verified? And if that means, I think Carrie said it earlier, if that means you have to go to a level of transparency that you wouldn't normally go through, like provide information, well, then so be it. Because there is such a thing as throwing a baby out with the bathwater, and I'd hate to get to a place where they ruin it for everybody, but go ahead.
Well, I think what you're saying is completely true. However, what's been previously mentioned is just, unfortunately, with the Frauditor community, we see them get arrested, right? So there's that public justification to throw money downrange, right? However, in the watchdog community, a lot of this happens in their real life, outside the auspices of the internet. And for Virgo Triad, as soon as she said, well, you can't get a hold of the fire department report, I'm like, that's a public document. You can FOIA that. You can completely the only documents you probably won't get will be any insurance related documents, because that would be outside the public domain, unless the insurance company had provided a document to the fire department or the police department. So, as soon as she started saying like, that's an inaccurate fire department report, I'm like, well, if it's an interim report, wait 30 days and do another request.
Right. Well, that was it. She was nitpicking or cherry picking what she wanted to post. Once we pulled the full fire report and we put everything out there, and then a supplemental report, that's when the House of Cards came falling down. And then we found the previous arrest, which that wasn't me. It just had to be her exact first, last, middle name and her wife's name, but that still wasn't her.
Right.
So
And then-
yeah.
And then who's that
Is my mic fucked up?
It's like you're in a
No.
bathroom.
And then
I
who's
am in a bathroom.
Who's that frauditor that tries to use his iPad as an adaptive device because he says he's a brain damaged blind
justice. Blind
Yes.
justice.
Lord.
Yeah. So I've got a couple of issues with him personally. My dad has low vision in his right eye. He has 20/200, so he's essentially legally blind in his right eye. If you're of that low vision, how the fuck do you use a screen?
Want to talk to him. He had the earpiece also. Now, blind justice also was, and I just learned this recently. He could see shapes and figures. He was not 100% blind. That's why he's able to wake. He was also, yeah, exactly. I could be. He was a wakeboard champion. There was a lot of questions about him and his abilities when he was also sanding his deck one day, and the lines were perfect.
It was pressure washing his deck. We did a segment here on Massel. The thing that kind of did it for me about this whole thing not being 100% honest, like we said, there could be some truth to some things, but not all the way out there. Was in that little situation that happened in Madison, where he was being kind of followed by the local townspeople, and he was a good. I think I have it on this. We measured it out. It was like a good 600 feet. 2 football fields away from a vehicle that was on top of the hill, and the vehicle was kind of filming him, and he was filming the vehicle, and the person in the truck was filming him. So I had 2 points of view, one of blind justice's and one of the guy on the hill. And the guy on the hill had his truck. It was either off or idling. Couldn't hear it in that guy's video. But in blind justice, you look at his video, it was perfectly framed at the point on the top of the hill where you could barely see the truck. It was like, how does he know? How does he know? He can't hear the vehicle, but he's got his camera perfectly framed at the truck. He knew it was there.
Yeah.
And he was zoomed. I mean, it wasn't like you would think a blind man who could only see things like a kaleidoscope would be, his videography was spot on. It was, so I'm like, come on, it's not.
Well, not only that, when he tried to make the claim where the facility he was in wouldn't suit his specific medical needs, when he was put in the local bucket, and then they moved him to a different facility. Well, as soon as an inmate, be it you're doing dead time because you're immediately before the courts, or you're a convicted inmate, you're doing like an actual sentence time. As soon as you claim a medical need, there is now a legal responsibility upon the institution you're in to do a medical assessment. So at some point, he's been paraded in front of an actual eye doctor. Because if you're going to claim you're that blind, the correctional facility is going to have to determine if you are able to defend yourself or not.
Well, I mean,
So what is your take? I mean, what is your take on it?
My take, I'm skeptical just from watching him. Now hearing this truck story, which was one that I was completely unaware of. Now I'm 100%. My opinion, not being a doctor, only having played one on TV, he's full of crap. Because if you're that low vision, and now you're using a tablet that has a 4x8 inch screen, and you can perfectly frame a truck at 600 yards.
Now, I'm going to be honest here, though. This is the sort of conjecture that honestly makes me uncomfortable because it's hard to prove one way or the other. And I know we've had these conversations, but yeah.
I agree with you. It's an uncomfortable conversation to have, and it is complete speculation on my part or anyone else's part. But this is the thing. So if blind justice, let's just use him as an exemplar, says in a GoFundMe, I now need money for fill in the blank medical condition, right? Some of his community will happily, willingly open their wallets and just start throwing money at it, right?
Right. This
isn't just some blind guy on the street. This is a guy whose whole purpose in life now revolves around his claiming to be 100%. Now, he's also made several statements at the VA. The guy in the VA asked him how cooked up he was, and he said 100% all the way, and in VA terms, they speak in terms of 20, 40, 60, 80. Well, he said 100%. So yeah, it's out there, and there's no doubt that he's using that. So yeah, I think it's fair game. Everything doesn't line up. It's not with what we're seeing with the claims that he's making.
Now, exactly what his deficit level is, I honestly don't know. I know I'm suspicious. I have doubts. But the same could be said for when people thought Nat the cat wasn't a real person and didn't actually pass away. We gave money to this thing, and did it actually happen? And that was only a byproduct of the Virgo Triad disaster. Because
that started well before the Virgo Triad.
Well before, okay.
Yeah. That came from a certain channel we won't go into that, but that started well before that, and then it got brought up again during the Virgo Triad.
Okay.
And going back to the handicap in jail, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of handicapped people in prisons and jails throughout the U.S. They have to make certain stipulations for them and help them and stuff, so they aren't victimized. But just because you have a handicap does not mean the jail has to let you go or make undue stress on the jail to house you. They'll do the best they can. You don't want to go to jail, don't commit a crime.
No, and if you are handicapped and you do end up in a correctional facility, the onus is on the correctional facility to do a medical assessment to see if you're able to defend yourself or not.
Right.
And now, granted, those records are sealed because they're a healthcare record and we can't have access to them. But that being said, if Blind Justice was to launch a campaign because he needed fill in the blank medical treatment or fill in the blank, my house is about to get repossessed, I'm pretty sure he has a strong enough following that people would just open up their wallets and start throwing money at it.
Oh yeah, and the debunkers would be right behind there, scrutinizing it, demanding medical records, and can we bring in our own doctor to independently verify this? Which is what, and I really did. I just want to circle back to Scraps. Just really was you focused on wanting to quantify. Do I really think that they're worse? I would say that that's how I feel right now, and that's a feeling. Okay, that's not fact. I find that I find them more bothersome personally. I don't know if I would quantify. I mean, how do you say that one is worse than the other when they are essentially the same freaking thing?
Oh, good point.
Right. I can't do that. I can't do that.
Well, and both sides claim to think they have the moral high ground, and they don't.
Right.
Well,
that's what it is.
let me see.
It's pontificating, this moral grandstanding all the time. We're all scum underneath. You know what I mean? I'm a shitbag.
I'll vouch for that.
Right. No, I'm not.
If you put that on a T-shirt, I'll buy one.
Let me see if I can get this out because I got to get going. But along these lines is, if you're going to belong to a community of, as you're saying, debunkers like this, and you're out there and you're asking for specific money for specific reasons, you're going to, just by all the examples that have been discussed here over the last 15, 20 minutes, you're going to achieve an even greater level of scrutiny, because people like me and others have been around this game for quite some time, have seen the grifts come and go from all of these different people of these communities, the auditing, not so much sovereign citizens, it's mostly auditing and cop watching. But so you got to understand this is the game. So if you're out there exhibiting the same behaviors, and I see a lot of the same behaviors out there, just based on the channels themselves, when you got these channels that have a couple, 200-300 subscribers and are already full of PayPal Me, Cash App, merch stores, throwing out all of the usual content creating type YouTube stuff, which to each their own. If you enjoy that entertainment, which that's all it is to me, is it's on an entertainment level. But just don't ask for money. Don't ask for it.
Well, I mean, if you do, then it better be on the up and up, and it better be reasonable. And again, Scraps, I see that you're really you're really gonna kind of rail on everything that I say. What I mean by quantify is sort of like an ethical algorithm, if you will, sort of like quantifying morality. It's where you weigh harms against each other and kind of quantify the relative weight there. That's what I'm talking about. So it's very hard to do that when we're looking at two opposite sides of essentially what I've come to recognize is the same freaking coin, right? That are engaged in very similar behaviors with it's certainly different different values that they're espousing, and there's this sort of dichotomy, right? This us versus them, like tribalism here. But essentially it's the same thing.
Yeah, and Andrew had a point just before Scraps that the frauditors claim to have this myriad of medical conditions. Well, as soon as they go to get arrested,
my shoulder, my wrist.
Okay, so I have a small list of medical conditions, right? So when I go to see a new doctor, like, oh, what are your diagnoses? I'm like, okay, sit down, let's grab a sandwich together and discuss this one because I've got a few, right? But they're all documented, and if I was to get arrested, there's only a couple that would be important for the cop to know that deal with my mobility or my speech, right? Other than that, they don't need to know about the rest. But I'm not looking to go get arrested.
No, it's true.
Well,
yeah.
the one thing
they talk
about,
oh my God, you can't talk about HIPAA, you can't talk about medical stuff. As soon as the cuffs come out, they just unleash on a whole list of every medical condition they got to, from starting when they were 3 years old.
We're seeing that in any sort of grift at this point. I hate to harp on Virgo, but it's the only thing that's publicly out there as of right now. That will change, but I was thrown back 20 feet and hit my head and my house exploded and medical drama that just didn't pan out. Right, like this again.
Couldn't speak.
It's the same.
Learn how to speak.
Right. Yeah.
I was intubated. Yeah.
Right. Like it is just the same thing, no matter how you look at it. And again, just because it's just really grating on me, just because a YouTube content creator, as they are called, happens to hate the same other content creators that you hate, does not necessarily mean that everything that they are doing is moral, ethical, legal, honest. And that does need to be looked at some point, but before it just runs rampant. And we're already seeing it. Like, we're talking about probably in total, in each quote unquote community, hundreds of thousands of dollars to this select few content creators with little to no oversight. This is not, this is a form of public assistance in the fact that the public is assisting them, but there's no oversight. like if they were going to a welfare office, there's no way to, qualify need here, true and honest need. There's no oversight as to where the money is being spent. There's no, it's completely arbitrary as to what elevates these people to a position to where they can take money from their subscribers like that. And it doesn't really matter whether you are a police apologist bootlicker, as they call us over here sometimes, or if you're somebody who is a freedom fighting cop hater, as they call themselves over there. It does not matter. There is a standard code of conduct to which we should all adhere, and that is, first and foremost, do not take money from other people dishonestly. And this is not victimless. The people are affected. The people are financially affected. I don't know how many times I've seen in a super chat or a message on a GoFundMe donation or a PayPal pool donation, this is my last $20. So was it you, Navin, that was doing out the math earlier?
I wish I could give more. Yeah, this is all I can.
Well, it's almost, and I don't mean to get to a sense of religiosity, but it's
David Gilmore's in the chat.
But it's almost like they're the evangelical grifter.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
When Navin and Kate and all of us started looking into Virgo, and people started seeing the light, there were several people that came forward to us saying, I gave them my last $20 because I believed in her. I gave her my last $5.
They were emotionally affected. Then there's, the common occurrence is, when people start to question it, these people who have built what are essentially cults, right? All form the same way. There's the tight little inner circle, and those are the people that are the trusted confidants. They go out and do the dirty work, and it kind of branches out from there with these followers. There are mobs that are incited that just absolutely personally tear people apart for daring to even question this one individual.
Oh yeah.
Which again
reminds
is
me.
always just an asshole with a YouTube channel, because that's what we are.
Yeah.
Well, do you remember do you remember the Jason D thing? Do you remember that?
Yep, I do.
See, for the guys that don't know, this Jason D was going through a heart operation, and he somehow landed on a heart transplant list and got a heart within like a couple of weeks, whatever. And I was like, So we started asking questions, and like Kate said, we got roasted for even thinking about that kind of stuff. And so they raised a lot of money, and he was going to go in for his heart transplant. And then he got out. He got out, and miraculously, in a couple of days. But I guess that happens nowadays, modern medicine. But he couldn't speak. He's coming up. He couldn't speak. He couldn't speak at all. And then on a whim, I kind of found out he also claimed that he lost his business due to this heart operation and COVID and everything else that's going on. And I found the business, and I called just to see if maybe he was working there. Well, I didn't know it was him. And he answered the phone, and I asked for Jason D, whatever. And the guy's saying this is the landlord, and he's kind of nervous talking, but I didn't pick up on it, and I just kind of, luckily I recorded it. And anyway, he had just supposedly got out. 1 second, and kill that. He had just got out of having a heart transplant, and he's speaking. And then that night he goes on to Jeff's panel, saying that the trolls are harassing his business and getting him harassing his landlord, because I guess they said he was flipping out all of a sudden, like, oh, they found me. But it was him, and he was talking normally. And then when I played the call, all his major supporters are like drop jawed. They're like, "What? You told us you couldn't even speak," Mm-hmm. And and a lot of people got ostracized and called every kind of, just because we asked questions. How do you get a heart transplant? And we looked it up. It's like, there was like 2,000 people at that time waiting for a heart or whatever, and in 2 years waiting list. It was like a big deal, but he got one pretty quick. But
right, and that's
and I don't feel bad about it.
You get lambasted for asking questions. I don't mind doing that. Like, I kind of thrive off the hate at this point, if we're being completely honest. It doesn't bother me. To me, it's just words on the internet for the most part. Still don't love it if you assholes bring up my children, but you do this long enough, you get desensitized. I have no problem being the lone person out there that stands up and asks these questions and looks into it, even if everybody hates me for it. It's fine. I don't know you people in real life. It's not going to affect me when I go to sleep at night. But for some people, it really does affect them, and for some people, the harassment can feel pretty relentless. And this is just a common refrain through everything that we're seeing here. So Prester John asks, how long do you think it will till the current investigation will be concluded to satisfaction? We should probably get a couple loose ends to tie up. And there are some questions that are not going to be answered, I think, no matter what. So we are kind of still sorting through. Yeah, this looks sketchy, but we can't prove it one way or the other. That stuff is never going to see the light of day, because if you can't prove it, it's not worth talking about it. But I would say probably by next week, we'll be able to start talking about it.
Hey, I got to jump. Thanks for having me up. I got to take this phone call.
No
Y'all
problem.
take care. Peace.
Come more often, buddy.
So,
Gavin Johnson, he does a lot of research. So
yes, he does.
Got to give him a shout out here.
So I got a question for you, Kate.
Yeah.
How can we be better consumers of the grift?
No, that's I think that's something that I'm still kind of working out, and it's because I'm still trying to fully understand how these things operate. I first and foremost, I would say, like, if a stranger approaches you on the internet with a catastrophic personal problem and they're not related to you or a close personal friend, or like, it's really not your problem. Like, better safe than sorry. I know that sounds awful, but we live in a country where there is a fair amount of public resources, where if you have a personal emergency, like, you are not not going to be destitute and starving on the street. That just doesn't happen in this country. I think that, if you ask questions, and you always should ask questions, and you're met with a ton of resistance, anger, or condemnation, that's probably a pretty big red flag that your questions are hitting a nerve, and it's probably not that legitimate. And I think that you got to watch and see. One thing that I'm seeing is that the people who are getting the most money out of their online communities have just constant personal problem after personal problem after personal problem. And I don't know. I mean, I have personal problems too. I think everybody does. If your first line of defense is always to reach out to thousands of strangers on the internet and ask for their assistance, there might be a problem there. Whether it's a grift or just someone who is ridiculously financially irresponsible, I don't know all the time, at its face. But do you really want to support either one of those things? I mean, some of the things that I'm seeing now are just absolutely ridiculous. I bred a litter of dogs. pay for my litter of dogs. I'm getting evicted. Pay for my new place. I want to buy a house. Buy my house for me. Oh, I've got taxes. Like, you're not the only person in the world who has to pay taxes. Nobody should have to pay them for you. Or I met somebody on the internet and decided to hop continents to move in with them, and it didn't last more than a month. Please bring me back to my nation of origin. Like, what the fuck did you think was happening? Like, those are strangers' problems. Those are not strangers' problems. I mean, it is asinine. Some of the things that I'm seeing coming out with these e-begs and grifts. Absolutely asinine. I want to take a trip, and I pre-planned this trip, but now I want to offset my costs. So please pay for my trip. Now, if you want to travel, you can pay for your own travel. That's what most people do.
You mean I could have found a new way to live?
Absolutely. It's absolutely out there. And if you want to give money, but I said, just don't whine about it when it gets exposed. I mean,
you can bring it to us and we'll expose it. Honestly, this is our content. Don't cut off our nose to spite the face here.
No, I'm not, but I'm just saying.
It's never going to stop. It's never going to stop. And
absolutely.
This is what we do. But I mean, I think people need to be more, and honestly, like, you can't, it's the old saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. You heard that one? If it's your last $20, don't give it to anyone. That's just common sense. Like, again, I'm not your financial advisor. I can't tell you what to do with your checks, nor would I want you to tell me what to do with mine. But I mean, it's just common sense that if you don't have money to give, don't give it. Because if you're not taking care of yourself, like, you're not taking care of anybody. Come on now.
Yeah.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Kate put a lien on my bank account.
Yeah,
well, I think
but I gotta go. Hey, I'm gonna go back into the peanut gallery. This thing's drained my phone down to 5%, even plugged in. So
we'll talk later on Discord.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Desert.
Comparing notes.
Well, I should probably hop off as well. I just like to thank the three of you for having me up.
Oh, anytime.
Yeah.
I think someone gave it a great analogy that this is kind of like the old Christian, passing the hat around. Here's my last $5, but I'm going to give it to God type thing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that is kind of, there is sort of like a TV evangelist feel to some of this, they're not necessarily promising the path to salvation, but they're promising that you and I together will end frauditing. Like, you're not
absolutely.
It's not going to happen.
No.
If I've learned it, and I, to be fair, because I don't want to paint with too broad of a brush. I think I felt that way when I first came into this. Like, this is bad. I don't like watching this, and I would like it to stop. But after so many years in, you kind of come to realize that this is this is an entire internet subculture. It is outside of anyone's control. It is going to exist independent of your feelings on it. And if you are, if you're jumping into an internet community or subculture, you're a tourist there, So now I don't seek to destroy. I seek to understand.
Yeah, I agree with you. I've been hanging out with Kate going on 2 years now with this, and when I first started doing this, I thought, we'll change some people's minds and stuff. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to ever change an auditor's mind. An auditor's never going to change my mind. The cash grab's never going to, there's too much money. The cash grab's never going to stop.
Yeah, auditors once in a while will change my mind, to be fair. My opinions are, evolving. Some of them are very strong and some of them are very stubborn, but I I'm never the smartest person in the room. I do that purposefully as much as I can because I don't ever want to be the smartest person in the room. I got a lot to learn, as do most of us. So I would say that I don't think that I think there's always an opportunity for an exchange of information. I think that there's always, sort of an opportunity for an exchange of opinions and ideas and perspectives. And sometimes that can be somewhat transformative, and that's fine. I don't think that when we're looking at auditors and certainly not watchdogs, they're not looking to change anyone's mind. They're looking to just, they have their subscriber base. They hate auditors, and they're going to continue to keep that shoved down your throat, right? They're going to continue you're going to be deeply entrenched in thinking that Glenn Cerio is a shitbag. And most of them haven't even done an iota of research to even be able to really justify that opinion. They just watch his videos. Like, you can be a shithead and still not be a terrible person. And it does kind of bother me when you hear people coming, Glenn Serio's the worst. Like, he's not a good guy. Like, by any stretch of the imagination, he's vile to watch. But to label him the worst is just egregiously incorrect, because you know how many rape convictions Glenn has? None.
Or to wish him physical harm. That's the one I keep seeing that bothers me a little bit.
Yeah. I don't like come on, guys. You're not fucking animals. You're human beings. Like this new wave of people in here that want to cage fight Glenn and see him shot in the head and stuff. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? This is the kind of shit that when we came in here and we would see auditors calling for the random shooting of police officers, and we would see, comments from their subscribers going, "Oh, that pig, I hope he gets shot in the head today," or "I hope somebody beats him within an inch of his life." We would say that was awful. That was one of the things that drew me in and really bothered me, was these violent fantasies that these people would have about police officers that were strangers to them, right? It's reprehensible. It's just as reprehensible when you're doing it to an auditor, to be fair.
Well, I know for a fact that Corrosive wants to sweep the leg, so that's fair.
Yeah. I'm a big
Thank you again, Preston John. Jarhead, how you doing, Jarhead?
Hello.
I don't think you've ever been on our panel before, have you?
Oh, but sometimes now and then we have, but I just want to thank Kate. I can't talk.
It's okay. You're doing
fine.
fine. You're doing fine.
You're okay, hon.
I just want to thank Kate for believing me. And I mean, it's like no big deal, but I didn't do anything to deserve to be treated that way. And I just really felt bad. And thank you anyways.
Sure. No, and we can talk privately, because I understand that you're part of this too. And I just don't want to air anything about that in public right now until I get a better feel for exactly what that situation was. But your input is definitely necessary. So I definitely want to connect with you over the next week.
Thank you.
Can. Yeah, but no stress
you.
here. You didn't do anything wrong. I know that.
Okay.
We've always loved you guys. We love both you guys, and we've always supported you guys 100%.
Yeah, it makes me sad. Makes me sad to hear you. In tears. And this is what I mean, guys. Like, like this stuff is not just, well, you gave some money and you're an idiot, so you deserve it. No big deal. Move on. Like, this is it impacts individual people, and sometimes en masse. And when it starts to build up and sort of the bodies pile up here, like somebody has to look at it. It's Absolutely. Not pleasant. You don't make a lot of friends, but somebody's got to look at it.
All right.
No, absolutely.
I think I really, I love you guys. I really do.
We love you too.
You're fun to listen to.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. J. We love you very much also.
We try to be.
Okay, I'll go now.
Bye.
Thank you from
Bye,
both
honey.
of us.
No problem. Glad you guys came up. Come up
You're
more
most
often.
welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye,
Thank
sweetie.
you.
Oh, that brought a tear to my eye.
Kate, that kind of does bring in a tangential point, though. There's a lot of hat passing in this community, and a lot of money is raised. And sometimes it's quite valid. It's completely valid money, and it's in some cases it's being raised on behalf of others who won't do it themselves but can probably use it. So people also have to be careful not to assume that every fundraiser and every hat pass for somebody that's on hard times is a scam, and do the research in both directions before calling one a scam or saying it's definitely not a scam. Have the information before you start doing streams on it and start doing comments and chats and calling people scammers that you can't actually prove are scammers. I've seen a lot of that recently too. A lot of it.
I just think we forget there's a human side to this, and even whether it's the money grab, doxing, whatever it is, there's no humanity left in this anymore. It seems.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as I mean, sometimes it gets to be a bit of a drag, and a lot of the infighting, and again, the infighting all kind of you follow it back, and it leads to money.
Mhm.
And that's concerning. I mean, nepotism. Somebody said there's a fair amount of nepotism in these things that are questionable, right? So you'll see a few people that kind of pass around the GoFundMe, so I'm going to make this GoFundMe for someone who last month did a GoFundMe for me, and it kind of gets passed back and forth. And so that'll be kind of the justification point that they'll bring up. Well, I didn't do this GoFundMe for myself. So-and-so did. Well, yeah, I mean, so-and-so has been actively involved in most of this fundraising, right? M. McD said, I personally prefer the auditor who makes them look like clowns while maintaining a professional demeanor. I have it's not even a secret. Love. I'm very open with it. I love Michael Picard. I just do. I think he's wonderful. He does that sort of. I mean, he calls it trollivism, and he trolls rallies, occasionally police officers too. I find him to be quite enjoyable to watch. He does not go heavy on the e-bag at all. His content is scarce. He's not somebody who's uploading 16 times a day, but when he does, I find it to be impactful. So I would agree with you.
Hey, can I just address what No Free Pass said there for a second?
Yeah.
Look, if you're doing a successful, entertaining YouTube show and you have people to come watch you every day, and you have people that are willing to go check out your Amazon wish list and buy you stuff off your wish list, that doesn't bother me that much. That's passive. You're putting it out there. If people want to support you, that's fine. It's up to them. When I watch TV, I watch commercials, I'm supporting the people to create that TV show. It actually costs money to do YouTube. I'm paying $60 a month for freaking Adobe. I'm paying $30 a month for StreamYard, whatever. It costs money to do it. There's a difference between that and the continual either outright e-begging or dry begging, where you're just sitting there, doing the whole, oh man, I got another flat tire on my car today, but don't worry about it. God will provide. And then the next day, God came through in the form of super chats. Thank you, people. Now I have new tires.
Right. Or just in general, like, how many conversations in your data? This is the dry begging drives me nuts too. And I'm not going to single it out to one person because I've seen it with several. But yeah, in your everyday conversation, you're sitting at work, you're sitting at your desk or whatever. Like, do you turn over to your coworker and go like, hey, Joanne, man, I have to spend $250 on a tire, and I don't know how I'm gonna get it. Just so you know, completely unrelated to anything that was happening in the office right now, but I have to spend $250 on a tire. 250 exact dollar amount. But don't worry about it, it's fine. But I'm just really worried about how I'm gonna pay it. Joanne would turn around and go, "Are you asking me for $250?"
Right.
Like,
and Joanne, my PayPal's on a sticky note on my monitor. I'm going for a break now.
Right. That's exactly what's happening here, though. Yeah.
And when they raise the money, they go buy a half ounce of weed instead of buying the tire,
or whatever else it is. Or
right.
You've got somebody who is constant financial problems asking for your money, but you can see a lot of assets that could be liquidated in the background of the channel. Like, again, like, what kind of society are we in right now, where the first line of defense is asking other people for what you should be able to do for yourself?
Absolutely.
I'm not saying it's not an option at all, but it should not be your go-to. If it's your go-to, I have a problem with that.
Well, and also, how transparent do you want to be? And I think that's the point where people need to be. If you want to contribute to someone, you need to ask for transparency. And that's your first clue. If someone doesn't want to be transparent of why you're giving them your money, why are you giving them your money?
Yeah.
And if I ever did a live stream where I said I needed money for a tire, the next thing you would see would be me live streaming at the Pep Boys as they put the new goddamn tire on my car, and then the receipt would be on my community page. I mean, it's just, there's just too much of that. Oh yeah, well we got the $1,000, but we can't release any information because there's always some cloudy reason around the because nobody can talk about it.
Right.
We can't redact those documents, or it might, blah 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 blah. And that's when it gets shady, and you start wondering. And then it happens the next month, and then the month after that. I mean, say what you want about Rebel, but he sits in his chat and goes, I'm almost out of weed. I'm going to be an asshole if I don't have weed. I just need $30, people. And somebody donates to him. At least he's being honest what he's collecting his money for.
Right. Which is still ridiculous. And I would say objectionable, but
it is, but I almost have to respect him more. I almost have to respect him more because he tells you what he's going to do with it. He's not making up some sob story. He's flat out says, I want to buy.
No free passes. When you say I need this $200 gaming chair because my back hurts, I just see this as a form of grifting. It's your channel. Yeah, I mean, and some of the needs here are very clearly wants. I mean, it's just some of these people, where are they getting their definition of poverty from? Okay, like I just don't understand. Because I've been poor. I've been very poor, and you also have to remember too that some of these people will go and ask strangers for tens of thousands of dollars, but consider themselves too good to sit in the welfare line.
Yeah.
Come on. I think somebody, Beaver. Oh God, Beaver's here. Nobody threatened to put your titties on Beaver's back. I think this might be a different Beaver. I'm sorry.
No, it's Brainy Beaver. That's a completely different guy.
Oh gosh, mistaken identity. That's
sorry, Beaver. But yeah, that's the first.
Sorry,
the titties on the back. Oh my God.
Yeah. So he said if I asked my audience for money, I'd be at a point where I was going to lose stuff, but I'd have to exhaust all avenues first myself. That's exactly it. Is things happen every single day to all sorts of people, and what we have to remember on YouTube is YouTube has created this platform where anyone can become varying levels of minor celebrity for no apparent reason. I don't know why you people come and watch us half the time. It's a shit show, but you do, right? But you
there's
do.
Literally a lobster that some guy took home from a grocery store named Leon.
I love that video. Don't even talk about him.
No, I'm not. This is an illustration of YouTube. Leon has over 10 million views. He has hundreds of thousands of followers. He now has sponsors in the form of companies that do fish tanks and, marine life protection, sponsoring the channel. And this was a guy that on a goof went, I'm going to take this lobster home and keep it in a tank instead of killing it. Okay, YouTube is fickle. It's fickle as hell.
Did you see the glow up on Leon the lobster? I mean, seriously, it's heartwarming to watch. I will defend Leon the lobster, but I mean that's so my point being is these are normal everyday people. These are not musicians, actors, writers, high intellectuals all the time. These are just regular people. So it is expected, I guess it should be expected, that they're going to have regular everyday people problems. That is not your responsibility. And unfortunately, you'll get some people who have a little bit of charisma behind them, but still the same shit show of a life that most of us have, and they will use that charisma to their advantage. And I will say this too, and this is going to ruffle some feathers. From what I can determine after looking at these, and I'm calling them cults, these cult-like setups online, is that there seems to be a trifecta of motivations here, and that is money, sex, and power. You have people who are taking money from their subscribers. They are putting their female subscribers, men, or I haven't seen many female. I don't profile a lot of females, but the men are putting their female subscribers in very precarious situations where they are soliciting nude photos and videos, or sometimes actual meetups and encounters, even if they're not fully comfortable with it. And they are constantly fluffing their own egos to maintain a sense of power.
The amount of dick pics that are flying around our little side of YouTube is disturbing.
I wouldn't know. And that is not an offer to change my mind. I'm quite happy not knowing.
I didn't want to know. I've just
say that before my DMs start blowing up.
We can correct that for you.
No, please don't. Please don't. Unless it's Kate's. That's the only way.
Kate's dick picture. Well,
yeah, that's the only way.
We have wondered.
Right.
But I mean, now people aren't even fighting over money. They're fighting over subs, which is stupid. We're in this tiny little group. This is a tiny, tiny little speck under the fingernail of YouTube.
Well,
and people are acting like, well, if you watch that channel, then you can't watch mine. There's like I mean, maybe 1,000 people in the giant aggregate that watch this. There's a much smaller group that watch like these panels on a daily basis, and it's the same damn people. You're not fighting over subs. They're all the same people. There's like 100, maybe 120 people that'll watch a panel show that's not like this one, the smaller ones in the community. It's the same people every night on every show, all day long. Any show that pops up, it's the same people watching it. You're not winning anything by stealing, subs from somebody else. It's not a finite quantity. I don't get the argument over it. I've never understood that.
Well, I mean, again, the subs go back to the trifecta of motivations here, right?
And money.
Money, power, and sex.
Yeah.
And they're the only people who can provide all three, potentially. You have offended Scraps again, who does not agree with your assertion that if you are honest about needing it for dope, then that's fine. But the guy who needs it for tires lying, geez. And I actually disagree with that. I think it's just as reprehensible if you go online and beg for weed money. I do not agree with that. I will criticize that just as sharply.
I'm not saying I do either, but I'm saying if you're honestly begging for a tire and you absolutely need one, then I have the same level of respect for you as somebody who's honestly begging for dope, which is at least you're telling me the truth, it's a level above the. It's a level above the person lying about what they want, but none of it's good. I'm not saying any of it's noble.
I don't
I'm
find
not saying it's noble.
Honestly, that's a question that's come up a lot, especially when we're looking into the things that we're looking into now. Is there situations that definitely are outright lies? Like that, that did not happen. The fact that you raise money for that is super suspicious and completely unjustified. Even the ones where the numbers add up and that's what you were begging money for. Like, what the fuck? Like, not other people's responsibility. Your weed habit, not other people's responsibility. Your living situation is not other people's responsibility. I wouldn't necessarily distinguish one above the other. I find it all to be a pretty big shit sandwich. I think the frequency matters to me a lot too. I have seen people who have tried. I mean, hell, I put up a PayPal pool and was like, I'm raising money for something, but I can't tell you what it is, which I really couldn't because it would ruin the whole troll. Shockingly enough, that did not generate the even close to the goal, which I understand, but that's a good sign that people are intelligent, at least if they're like, whoa, if you're not going to tell me, then I'm just not going to. But we also don't encourage you to believe us blindly. I have a lot of faith in the subscriber base because there are people with a lot of different opinions that kind of run the whole spectrum. And we have a lot of comments where people don't fucking like me. And honestly, if you don't like me, I trust you just a little bit more. I am an intrinsically unlikable person, but you're allowed to say that here. So I feel like, not to gas you all up too much. I'm not love bombing you by any means, but I feel like our subscriber base, especially the core base, is a little bit more what's the word I'm looking for? They're the more critical thinkers than your average bear. I love you guys.
I know Corrosive and I have both bumped heads with you where we said we don't agree with you on X, and you're like, fuck you, I'm gonna do it anyway. All right, do it.
Yeah, but we're allowed to disagree and still be friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, listen, I'm a free bird. I gotta fly and cause chaos sometimes.
I feel like Scraps is kind of still stuck in that tribal mentality of if you're exposing auditors or making fun of auditors, then you're a good guy.
Or she or he, I'm sorry, I don't want to assume, but they are just asking, tough questions, which I appreciate. I like the discourse. So
it could be, but I mean, guys, anybody can hang out a shingle on YouTube. Anybody can start a channel, call themselves whatever they want, tell you they are whatever they want you to believe they are. And it's up to you to figure out whether they're telling the truth or not. It's the unfortunate fact of life on YouTube. Kate flat out says that who she is. Yeah. So if you get taken in by her, it's your own damn fault.
And
but there's a lot of other people.
Dongulus, I just want to say that honestly, I think there's no way we're going to finance it. It was going to be phenomenal trolling if I do say so myself. I can tell you what it is now because it's not going to fucking happen.
It was pretty good.
Billboards.
With a certain picture on it.
I had some very it was not just going to be like we weren't singling one person out with the billboards, maybe on the individual billboard, but we had a couple people in mind with some they're very important PSA stuff on the billboards. Oh, Harry, you look so nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know why you would do that when we're talking about billboards, but
I don't-
billboards. It was gonna be billboards, and honestly, that's one of those things that was just it was a ridiculous total idea. I was like, man, I want to do this, but like I'm not a wealthy woman, you guys. Like, I can't afford fucking billboards. I mean, if I ever win the lottery or can find a good black market retailer to take some of my extraneous organs, or maybe my few remaining good teeth, then I will finance the billboards on my own. But now I've ruined it. Now
Yeah, the surprise is out. Chuck's very feisty tonight. Why are you so feisty tonight, Chuck?
Feisty.
He is feisty.
Chuck doesn't like Canada, apparently. We have Canadian friends. Chill out, Chuck.
We do, Chuck.
Yeah,
Lighten up our Canadian. Your hair's on point tonight, Chuck. Kate's Walmart, H Fun. Actually, it's Costco. Costco heroin. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Hank.
I liked it too. I feel like sometimes, like, we're like we're a relatively small channel. I think that part of when we do draw a crowd and why we seem to have this reputation that maybe makes some people nervous is you can't really ferret out the intentions here, because I'm not doing this to make money. I've lost money some months doing this. Some months I've broken even. Some months I've had maybe $100 that I can put in my pocket. That's cool too. I can show you my earnings right now on YouTube, and I will tell you that it is under $400 for the last month. Okay, we're not making money here. You can't buy us. We're not for sale. I don't really care about the whole fucking ego thing. I've been smeared across the internet in so many different ways, and I'm still here. It's not an ego thing for me. I don't need you all to suck my dick. So the intentions part, like some people just want to get into a rabbit hole and find it to its logical conclusion. You know what I mean? Some people just want to undo these puzzles and maybe start a couple fires along the way. I am one of those people. There is nothing that you can do that will influence my desire to fit the pieces of a puzzle together objectively, right? Like you can't offer me money for it. You can't be super nice and be my friend. You can't bully me out of it. I'm not afraid of your hatred either. Like there's nothing you can do at all.
Corrosive, was that a sock in chat, or is that yours also?
What that I just said? Yeah, I have a wrench, dude.
Okay. You have a wrench. There's a sock then.
There's always an argument popping off in chat.
Yeah, there's a corrosive in there without a wrench, so I'm gonna remove
You know what,
them.
guys? I see that some of you don't get like one thing I do want to bring back. And I know it's going to be tough to say because the connotation's immediately going to go to like the Ralph retort, but I want to rejuvenate internet blood sports.
Oh no! Come on, haven't we learned?
No.
Didn't Ralph just get his ass beat in Indonesia over that shit?
Listen, I am not Ethan Ralph, nor am I baked Alaska, nor am I. I mean, it's probably hubris that I was like, we do it different, but I mean, we already kind of do it anyway. You know, we need more debates.
Debates are fine. I know Corrosive's tired of the blood sport. I know it's Corrosive. We've all had this conversation. It's not as fun as it used to be. Degeneration Nation's a friend of mine outside of the YouTube world. What happened to him the other night, whether you like or dislike him, I don't agree with. I don't agree with what happened to Corrosive. There is no bottom anymore.
Well, I mean, the doxing. So I have a very convoluted view of the doxing. I didn't like when I was getting doxed to High House, so I understand it's a jarring experience. However, like if you are on YouTube, you are elevating yourself to the level of a public figure, right? And a lot of people are monetizing this. You're making a living off of this, right? How many times has Britney Spears' home been photographed?
And I get what you're saying as far as that aspect of it, but where you draw the line,
there is no line. Okay, like at some point, and I get it. The first time it happens to you, bitch moan. We can all condemn it. But if you want to play this game, especially again with this corner of the internet, it's a very confrontational, really entrenched in tribalism, just what's the word, adversarial sort of corner of the internet. You've got channels who are just talking shit about other people, other channels a lot of the time, right? Like, you're taking videos and you're smearing them. It gets personal sometimes. I don't know how many times Glenn Cerio has been weight shamed in this chat right now. We've pulled this whole history down to like domestic disturbances with his father. Okay, is that doxing when it's done to Glenn Cerio? Because nobody called it doxing, not that I heard anyway. Like, this is what is going to happen. You either nut up and you understand that it's part of the game, or shut the fuck up about it.
So it makes your family fair game, makes your wife, makes your kids.
They're not. I personally, I will not go after somebody's wife, kids, family, anything like that. But if it comes at me, like, not much you can do about it.
No, I agree with that. You're right.
Then. If you don't like it, shut down. That's the best
Right.
I can say. And if you're somebody who's gonna cry about it and then stoop to the same thing later on, you're an asshole. You know what I mean? But to some extent, this is how the game goes. And for a little bit, I exposed Turtle Boy's affair that was kind of involving his family. That's a line that generally I wouldn't cross. I felt that it was necessary due to the nature of the way that these affairs were happening, because it's predatory what he's doing.
All right, you timed me out, buddy.
It didn't have a wrench. That's why I asked you.
It does have a wrench.
No, the one I timed out did not have a wrench.
Well,
but I mean, that's just what's happening here. It's part of the game, and criticism is not comfortable. I can tell you, having two fucking lunatics show up outside your house is a jarring experience. I certainly understand the emotion behind it, but
I understand that.
If you don't like it. If I didn't like it, then I don't like it, but I'm saying if it was that much of a problem and I was going to, make such a big deal about it for months and months and months afterwards, which I didn't, I bitched and then got over it. Right. You shut down. That's the only way to stop it. We are not moral arbitrators. There are no rules. There are no rules. There's no rules to how these people are, making their money. There's no rules to what they tell their subscribers. There's no rules about how they strike back when they feel attacked on any side of the spectrum. So it is what it is. Do I feel bad that DGen had his, I believe it was his address put out, correct?
Yeah, and his wife, yeah.
I feel bad about that, and that sucks. But I mean, dude, you've been fucking shitting on other people on your channel for how long? It's naive to think that that's not gonna come back to you. And you know what I mean? Like, I don't fuck with the anonymity thing. Everybody knows my name is Kate Peter. Y'all know where I live. My fucking social security number has been put out there at this point. My vehicle VIN number, everything. All right, like, anonymity is an illusion. It does not last. It's the breadcrumbs that you're leaving out here. At some point, somebody's going to find out who you are, and where you are. And I mean, obviously, I think what we really need to hope for is that it doesn't cross the line to where it gets to be a physically violent or dangerous situation. That's way over the line. But I haven't seen it get there.
I think it's coming.
Yeah,
and I'll put my foot. Yeah, I agree. And I'll put my foot down here, Chuck. You cannot have a wrench on YouTube's. You are an abuse power person. You would abuse that wrench left like you did in Discord. It would be ugly. We'd have no audience with Chuck with a wrench.
Chuck, although I do respect your stern and authoritative rule over the people of Masshole, I think we need a strong leader like you. I do feel like you would just be a little bit heavy-handed with the wrench, if we're being completely honest. And it would just be a very uncomfortable transition for most of the people that frequent here. We're pretty light on the modding. So respectfully, I will decline at this juncture. Thank you for offering to moderate. But I will decline.
I think we'd go from
whatever. Your mouth prettier than a $2 whore. That's a hell of a way of saying no. Fuck off, Chuck.
We'd go from 635 people watching to 7.
Or he would increase the number with the necessity for sock accounts coming back in here. So I don't know. I don't know. I have to, because I respect Chuck immensely. He is fantastic personality and specimen. I don't think I've ever met anybody like Chuck in my life. A lot of the time people get we'll profile some kind of bottom of YouTube, obscure, oddities that we find, and people get so mean about it. We should celebrate people like Chuck, because he is a true individual.
He is an American hero.
Oh, well, right now he's saying, fuck you, we're two-faced. Sorry, Chuck. I still respect you immensely.
And I complimented your hair.
Yeah. So on that note, I think I'm gonna freaking wrap up because it's 10 o'clock, and although they did call school, so my kids don't have to go to bed right away, they're going to have to eventually.
You heard you having an ice storm?
Yeah. We are expecting an ice storm tomorrow. The GoFundMe will appear forthwith.
We'll need
The
more
ice
lawn
storm
chairs.
hasn't happened yet, guys. But spoiler alert: my entire roof caved in, and I'm living in the ice palace from Frozen now.
We might be able to have a GoFundMe early in the morning tomorrow. We'll see what we can do.
Maybe if we do a good enough GoFundMe, we can upgrade you to the Fortress of Solitude.
Ooh.
Yeah. I also have hypothermia now, and I've lost my pinky toe to frostbite, and everyone knows that you can't walk properly without a pinky toe. You'll just fall over, which I am doing preemptively before the storm.
True. Very true. Anyway, this was fun for a little ad hoc. I didn't know you were going live tonight.
Yeah.
So-
It was time to do it. We'll be back on Sunday. Maybe,
Cool.
probably.
Maybe.
I don't know. Yeah, well, no, give me some time, guys, because like this, some of this watchdog shit, it is quite the rabbit hole. I might do a members only stream because like we have maybe like 40 members. So it's like a nice small group, and like we can just kind of vet some of this information. Obviously, the stuff that is not verified, like I'm not going to put even in a members only stream, but some of the stuff that is looks like pretty solid, but there's some loose ends to it. Maybe we can do a little think tank and bounce it off each other. I would like to do that with my members.
Can arrange that.
If you are that invested in what we do here that you are paying $2 a month, then I feel like you're entitled to have some input over what we do. Not determination here, but maybe get some sneak peeks. And honestly, I've gotten to know some of the people that have been just longtime subscribers, members, like smart people that I really value their opinions and their skills. So yeah.
Two-faced people suck. Chuck.
Yeah, Courtney Dobbs says the last member stream was me, Rebecca, and Courtney. Yeah, like we have like literally like 3 people streams on the members only. That's all. Like this product is essentially worthless. Let's just throw that out there. So I appreciate the members. Thank you guys for giving me your money, but you're essentially paying for.
I think Bexa and Courtney should pay more. I mean, they actually got a one-on-one experience.
Right. My time is very valuable. I'm a celebrity, don't you know?
So I think it's fair they pay a higher price.
The turtle boy quote from court. I'm kind of a public figure. Monetize that. Oh man, Nikki Potnick, how can you get an autograph? We can meet up behind the dumpster at Wendy's. Where we both will be conducting our business, and I will sign a dumpster napkin for you in my big girl writing.
All right, Kate. Thanks for having me up. I got to go take the makeup off both my faces, so I will talk to y'all later. Bye.
Bye. I'm honestly, I sorry, but wrap it up real quick. Stranger. I want to emphasize that like, in no way is that dry selling memberships at all. I'm going to be entirely transparent here and say that although I appreciate the people that purchase memberships, they have so far been essentially worthless. Like you could go take $2 to I think $8.99 is the highest. So any amount between $2 and $8.99, and you could burn it in a trash can, and you would probably be accomplishing as much as buying a subscription to Massel, except you do get the emojis, so that's cool. That's literally about it. So I am not dry selling them at all. I really probably went too far into discouraging people. I appreciate the memberships. I don't know what else to say, but no, I don't. We don't do a lot of members only content because I feel fucking weird about it, honestly.
And the jarheads just signed up for memberships.
Don't do that, jarheads. Jesus Christ.
Reverse psychology at its best.
No, I'm not reverse psychology. I'm being so honest. You have no idea how honest I'm being. Like I can gauge the worth of this channel pretty accurately, and it is not very high. Just thank you for joining, Jarheads. Thanks for your money. Jeez Louise. Yeah, anyway, we'll be back on Sunday. I'm gonna end this. Nobody buy a membership right now. God. All right, good night.